Today we're going to be going over another of one of my favorite Pokemon decks, Mega Lucario. I'm going to be going over my card choices as well as what I'm running in this current 2026 and 2027 rotation. So catch you guys very soon. So before we begin, I just want to mention to you guys, thank you for checking out my End Zoroark list post rotation. I've been doing a lot of updates and changes to a lot of my decks and just been testing around even new builds that have been popping up post Ascended Heroes in Perfect Order. And right now, this is kind of one of the decks that I'm actually proud of, which is Mega Lucario, because it's a very beginner friendly deck for those who want to get into the game. I've been recommending it to a lot of people who are trying to learn how to play the game because of how straightforward it is, the game plan, and that you don't have to necessarily make any deviations from that game plan unless you're trying to be a little bit more technical with the deck. And I feel like, honestly, by being kind of fancy with that deck, with technical or slash fancy with the deck, you lose a lot of its strengths, which is that it can hit very heavy thanks to Premium Power Pro and its attack Mega Brave, which allows you to just easily one-shot a lot of the basic EXs and especially basic Mega EXs. So being able to like easily just climb those numbers is just really nice. I think it's strength for Mega Lucario compared to Zoroark, where it needed Zekrom to match it in terms of being able to combat the meta. Lucario already had it from the beginning when it first came out in Mega Evolution Set 1. So without further ado, we're gonna go into the deck profile. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, because we're gonna be doing more videos like this where I'll discuss the competitive viability as well as how friendly it is for beginners. We're gonna start off with the Pokemon line. So we have 4 copies. I run 4 copies of Riolu. I run the 80 HP one because right now 80 is just a healthy number. Even if you don't get the plus off of Buddy Buddy Poffin, as other decks can do that are running under around 70 HP and under, this at least gives you a lot of survivability against early game aggression. Since most decks can hit about 60 to 70 in the early game, and having some kind of just 80 is just a nice number to have. And then continuing on with that lineup, we play 3 copies of Mega Lucario EX. I managed to get a playset of the attack rare. I actually like this version over the SIR and the full art. But it's just the main heart and soul of the deck. It's one of the reasons why it's a Mega Lucario deck instead of a fighting based deck. Because the first ability, Aura Jab, with 1 fighting energy, you do 130, and then you get to salvage 3 fighting energy from the discard pile and attach it to any of your Pokemon however you like. So basically your goal early game is to to constantly Aura Jab your opponent to load up your next Mega Lucario or your Hariyama for just easy swings, so you can just take one hit KOs throughout the game. So we're playing a 4-3 split. I'll put them right here. Next, we play another pair, which is 3 Soul Rock, which pairs with the 2 Hot Lunar Cycle Lunatones. So Soul Rock, basically for 1 fighting energy, does 70, ignoring weakness and resistance. And it can only do the 70 for 1 fighting if you have the Lunatone in the back row. And Lunatone also has the ability of Lunar Cycle, where you can discard, draw 3 cards. But it can only happen if you have the Soul Rock on board. So you need these 2, and since Soul Rock, you can attack early with Soul Rock, I determined that 3 is fine. I think you want to see Soul Rock more, so that way then you could just focus on searching for the Lunatone with your items. So having more copies just to increase the likelihood of going to your hand is very helpful. We play a 3-2 line. Then we play 2 Makuhita, which pairs into the 2 Hariyama. So Hariyama is essentially our counter capture or Pokemon catcher. So it's one of the reasons why this deck has such an oppressive early game, like oppressive game, game plan, because you get to just immediately, instead of using a supporter to gust up your opponent's Pokemon in the form of boss's orders, you just evolve into a Hariyama, gust one of your opponent's Pokemon that you want to knock out, and then just straight up knock it out. It's a really strong, just overall important partner. And then last Pokemon we play is one Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. The reason why I'm only playing Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon over the other like utility Pokemon like Fez and things like Meowth is because we're kind of competing for bench space, since most of the time the tools, the utility Pokemon, and just the overall game plan requires the bench to be very secured with Lunatone, Solrock, your Lucarios, and the Hariyamas, that you're competing for bench space. And you only get, at least I think in my testing with this deck, one free flex spot in the bench space, and in most cases you just want it to be there for either another Lucario or an attacker that can help you during a bad matchup for Lucario. And the reason why I chose Ogerpon is because one of the most common techs against Lucario is Lily's Clefairy, and one of the things that this Pokemon does is that it can at least, if you have to wall up against a Clefairy, like if you gust it up and you put this up in the active while you slowly load up this, is that they can't damage this because Clefairy has an ability, and it can two-shot the Clefairy, and the only thing that can easily answer this is decks like Dragapult, which most of the time they're just going to attack with the Dragapult. But in other cases, like if they have to rely on like attackers with abilities to circumnavigate, like to deal with you, the Ogerpon is there just to be an attacker that you can like power up slowly, and then prioritize that as your early game attacker, and then Lucario later once you deal with the threats. So that's it for the Pokemon. We're running about 17 Pokemon. I would like to put in more, but this version of Lucario is very tight in space. And let's say if we do get more options for gusting, I may cut these out. But right now it's just important, the Hariyama. So you kind of have to play this kind of skeleton. Now for the supporters, we're playing 4 Lily's Determination. We're using the same ones that I used from my Zoroark list because I just love the SIR Lilies. We're playing 4 Carmine. The reason why is this deck actually can get away with like discarding your hand, and one of the weak spots with this deck is deck speed, because if you don't have these two on board, you are actually going to have a very slow game. And Carmine kind of helps you get through your deck so you can get to your utility cards like Poképad, the Fighting Gong, and Ultra Ball. And we only play 1 Ultra Ball right now because we're also playing another utility supporter that can help fulfill the gap of getting us our evolutions, which is actually... Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, the benefit of playing Carmine is you get to do this when you're going first. So if you lay out your board and Carmine's the last card in your hand, you get to play it turn 1 and then just draw 5 if you go first. And going first is very important right now in this game. Like being able to go first allows you to like just establish tempo really well, and if you're good at maintaining consistent building, if you're good at building a consistent deck, you're gonna maintain tempo and control the game very well. To help with the tempo, I play 2 copies of Hilda. The reason why I like to play Hilda is because it allows you to search for your Hariyamas and your Mega Lucario. On top of that, it allows you to search for your energy. So being able to search your stage 1 and an energy is just really helpful. So I play 2 Hilda, and then our last supporter is 2 Boss's Orders. Now onto the items. We play 4 Poképad. I'm still waiting for my 4th copy of the full art to come in the mail, but I managed to get 3 of them. So hopefully once I get the 4th one, it will look more uniform. So we're playing 4 Poképad, 4 Fighting Gong. So let me explain Fighting Gong, because this is the first time I've actually covered Fighting Gong. So you already know what Poképad does, which is it allows you to search for any non-rule box Pokemon and add it to your hand. So you're going to search your Riolus, your Hariyamas, your Makuhitas, pretty much 90, like all of your Pokemon except for the Ogerpon. And then the Fighting Gong allows you to search for any basic fighting Pokemon, including the Ogerpon, and any basic fight or any basic fighting energy that you may need. So if you already have the Lunatone and Solrock line and you have your Riolus on board, you basically use this to search the fighting energies. And then obviously the card that makes Lucario just a threat for Premium Power Pro. So Premium Power Pro gives your fighting Pokemon's attacks an additional 30 damage. So it allows you to easily climb the numbers like 300 plus really easily, especially with the Aura Jab. You just need 2 to knock out most stage 2s, and then like if you have to knock out like a thing like something like a Mega Venusaur, you would need 4. But in most cases you only need to worry about basically I think the only high HP Pokemon besides Mega Venusaur that you have to worry about is Dragapult, and that requires, with the Gravity Mountain, just 1 Power Pro, which is really nice. And then we play 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Ultra Ball. The reason I play 1 Ultra Ball compared to other lists is because I wanted to leverage other utility cards to get what I need, such as Hilda, because it gets you a stage 1 and an energy, which is really nice. And you don't really need to have that much discard outlet since Carmine does that for you. And this is just here to as your one stop, like you need to grab any Pokemon that you need. And then since this deck has a lot of high retreat costs, we play 1 copy of Switch. And then the ace spec of my choice right now is Unfair Stamp. I know people are playing Maximum Belt. I like it, but right now in this current meta, what I prefer more over like just guaranteed 1-hit KOs is hand disruption. Because even if I were to 1-hit KO and depending on my board setup, if my opponent has the key piece in their hand to return, like retaliate, and hopefully like either even the prize trade or even get ahead of me, I need to have some way to kind of just punish them and stall them out for 1 turn, because hand disruption is just very important right now. And until we get special red card, this is just the best ace spec to run. And then for our tools, we play 2 Air Balloon. And then our stadium of choice is 1 Rocket's Watchtower and 1 Gravity Mountain. So that's it for the trainers. We are running, and for those who aren't let me quickly explain this just in case anybody is not familiar. Gravity Mountain is basically all stage 2 Pokemon get minus 30 HP from their base total. So this helps you, like, especially soften up the beefy stage 2s, like again Mega Venusaur and Dragapult, which is going to be very common, the Mega Dragapult. And then for the energy lineup, we play 1 Rocky Fighting Energy, which is basically mist energy for fighting Pokemon. I play 1 right now because we're kind of tight in space, and once the meta develops, where if I see more Dragapult, I will justify trying to increase this to 2. And then we play 9 basic Fighting Energy. So overall, I really like this deck, and one of the reasons why, even though it's a very straightforward deck, one of the reasons why I picked up this deck is just because Lucario is one of my favorite Pokemons. And when I finally got to see Lucario be relevant again, since the last time I've seen Lucario relevant was during X and Y with the Furious Fist Lucario. And when I saw them making Lucario a really strong attacker, I was like, you know what? I want to try building it. And I was picking up all the pieces, just waiting for the day when I can pick up a nice art of Lucario, because I love the Mega Attack Rare versions. I was thinking about trying to get SIRs at first, but then after just careful consideration and looking at the other arts, I was like, it's not really my favorite SIR. If they gave a different SIR instead of the one where you see it fighting Mega Venusaur, I would be more interested, but I didn't see it. So I ended up just waiting for the Mega Attack Rare, and honestly, I'm glad I got them. I the other art that I liked was the full art, but I was like, you know what, the mega attacker looks cooler. So, and also I wanted to prioritize mastering my, not mastering, but getting better at End Zoroark, because it's one of my actually it's just my number one favorite deck right now. And Lucario is easily up there too, because again, Lucario is my favorite Pokemon. So I hope you guys like this video. We're going to be, the next Pokemon deck profile that I will be showcasing for you guys is going to be, I'm debating between Mega Dragonite, Marnie's Grimmsnarl, like an updated one just for this format, as well as my take on Dragapult, because I do play Dragapult from time to time. I just don't play it as often, is because it is a fun deck. Don't get me wrong, it is probably one of my favorite dragon based decks, but if I had to think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's not as exciting to play, because I think it's just because most people who play it competitively kind of ruin the fun for me to play it, because it's like playing the same thing over and over. And I mean, again, I shouldn't be preaching that much because I play in Zoroark a lot, but it's like playing against the same thing over and over and over. And I've been playing more Dragapult mirror matches than I do playing End Zoroark mirror matches. And even then, with the End Zoroark mirror match, it's kind of like a game of who can, it's like a game of chess, like who's gonna screw up first. And versus like other matchups where it's like more there's other factors. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. I will be doing, again, a One Piece deck profile. I have a Boa deck that I want to showcase, but it's just been, I've been busy kind of gathering some of the pieces for it. I will be doing an update on the Ace deck since rotation did hit for One Piece. I'll be doing that too. So don't forget to, once again, rate, comment, subscribe. Also crack that like button, and I'll catch you guys soon. Once again, this is Platinum Point. Don't forget to stay on point, guys. And peace out, YouTube.